Volatility is here. Now that's nothing new, but it's causing people a lot of heartache. Find out a little bit more of what's going on this edition of the Video Market Update. So from my last video, the last few emails, for everything you're seeing in the news, we know it's volatile, we know the market's reacting fairly negatively, and we know we're seeing lots of red. We had last week a 10% drop in 2 days, which wiped out about $6 trillion of market cap on the stock exchanges last week. Now, if you look at these charts, here's the year to date for both the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. So from January to now, I think the bigger concern is on the next chart, which shows the end of January, mid-February returns to now. And you can see the bigger decline. Even a great American company like Walmart, year-to-date returns are negative, but not terrible. But when you focus in on the mid-February to today, it looks pretty rough. Now, there are some silver linings, right? The fixed income market, the bond market has performed well. That's the point of having bonds in a well-diversified portfolio, is generally, now this is not a guarantee of future performance, but generally when stocks go down in these uncertain periods of time, bonds will buoy us up and keep us up a little bit. The bond market's done, a couple points this year. So we all know about the uncertainty around tariffs. That's not really the point of this video. The point is to just kind of talk about where we are in the market, right? We need some level of certainty. You're hearing from certain people like the press secretary saying these tariffs are not a negotiating tactic. But then other members of the administration are saying, well, no, we are going to use these as a way to negotiate tariffs against the United States. And there's some list of 50 countries who have already engaged. We know that worked the first go around. So why wouldn't it work the second go around? It's just, again, the uncertainty of where are we going to go with the tariffs? Because, again, having lived through the last few years, all we heard about was Federal Reserve, interest rates, inflation. Now all we're hearing about are tariffs. And so we may feel a little bit more pain as we kind of work our way through this. We'll see. It may cause interest rates to go down, right? But if the tax cut is made permanent and there's extra money in people's pockets, that may make up for the slight inflation that we may experience from rising costs. So again, this is more about what's kind of going on. And it's just, we're getting whipsawed. We're getting whipsawed back and forth. Just Monday morning, the Dow futures were down 1,500 points. It opened and with a few minutes, it went from being negative to positive 300 within minutes to being down negative 600 points. So it's kind of that back and forth that's causing people to have a little bit of indigestion around the returns that we're seeing in the market. So again, if we're serious long-term investors, we have a diversified portfolio. There may be a number of assets we haven't even talked about in this video that are going to help prop us up a little bit. If you're uncertain, if you feel worried, if you say, having to endure this for the next few months might be hard, just send me an email, give me a call. I've already had a number of conversations with lots of you and sent out emails, but if you have questions, let me know. Again, we're looking at the long term, right? We're kind of zooming out and looking long term, where sometimes it's easier to narrowly focus in on the day-to-day, the minute-to-minute. If that's kind of how you are, just turn the volume down on the TV. Just turn off the TV, turn off notifications, because the bumpiness of the day, if it causes you stress, it's not worth it. Because if we zoom out and we look at a portfolio for a longer period of time, these periods of uncertainty, these periods of drops happen. But if we stay disciplined and diligent and stay diversified, we will have the opportunity to make positive returns over the long term. So any questions on anything you're seeing in the news or in this video, let me know. If not, as always, I hope you make it a great week.